and Pledge of Allegiance. Mel Walden is going to step forward, and she's going to have our prayer for us. Please bow your heads.
Father, we want to thank you for being with us, and we ask you to be with us during this business. And we thank you for answering before we ask. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. You may have a seat. Okay. We have all council present with us tonight, so we have a full quorum. Agenda item number 2, mayor announcements. I would like to thank Mr. Johnson for filling in for me on Monday's meeting. I've been under the weather this week, and I'm still under the weather, but I'm here. Anyways, I want to thank you, Mr. Johnson, for doing that. I heard that everything went well, and I appreciate you. So thank you. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Our next meeting back will be January 4 in the new year, 2024, so that's kind of exciting. Never thought I would live that long to see this next year come. All right, so that's all for my announcements. Mr. Batlett's going to have some announcements when he gets to his city manager report. Agenda item number 3, public comments. I did not receive any yellow cards. Kit, did we have any yellow cards get turned in? Okay, we have no public comments than we have for tonight. All right, agenda item number 4, reports, city manager report. Mr. Batlett?
Just wanted to do a quick recap on the Christmas market and recognize someone that did go under the radar a little bit, and that's Kit. I wanted to recognize and thank her publicly for her hard work as well. She helped to organize all of the vendors and stayed in contact with all of them, and all of the organization and planning efforts she did.
Thank you, Kit.
So anyway, that's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Batlow? No? Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 5, public hearing items. Okay, our first public hearing item tonight that we have on the agenda is rezoning Sunset Ridge to a planned development. I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:03 p.m.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just to kind of give you a little bit of a background, if I can get to the right page here. On Sunset Ridge, this basically was a step that should have been done right after the annexation, once the planned development was completed. But somehow it got missed. So it's basically about the rezoning of Sunset Ridge. In your packets, you should have their developer's agreement, the draft owner ordinance, a copy of the notice for the public hearings, the list of landowners that were notified within 200 feet, a map of the current zoning, and their conceptual plan map for Sunset Ridge, and a report from P&Z meeting that was held on December 11th, 2023. Okay, maybe it's not going to work. I don't know if the battery's died in.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Flick me, there we go. So this first slide kind of shows the area that's being rezoned, and that's the area in blue on your map. It's a little west of 2280 and a little north of Business 67. So the area on the top, this says AG, when that was the area that was in the county, and when it gets rezoned into the city, it comes in as agriculture, AG. The other section was already C3 commercial. And then the next slide shows their conceptual plan. So it's going to be a PD, a planned development. So we're asking to change it from AG, agricultural, C3, light commercial and manufacturing, to a planned development. That's their conceptual plan. They're going to have 1, 2, 3 different phases probably. Phase 1, they've already started construction on the sewer, and they're about 90% complete. As far as the water goes, they started that this week, and they're probably about 30% done. That is, Jay says, the water. But if you notice the 2 areas down at the bottom in blue, those are going to remain commercial 3 zoning. Everything else is going to be basically based off of residential SF3 standards, what was all spelled out in the plan development. Mr. Pennington texted and said there's several accidents, and he's not quite to 917 yet, so he may be here if anybody has any questions in a little bit. Is there anything I can answer in the meantime? Or are there any citizens that want to speak to this?
All right, is there anybody from the public that has any questions for Mr. Martin? This is part of our public hearing. Mr. Knott?
Is this residences? What are the lot sizes? Is it high-density housing? What is it?
It's based off of single-family 3, which is high density. It's spelled out, they're going to have 50-foot, 60-foot lots. Width-wise, some of them will be 100, 110. So it's going to be a little mix of all of them. It's all spelled out in the plan development. I believe 1,400 square foot minimum homes. It said 5,500 square foot minimum lots. Front yard setbacks are 20, rear 10, 5 on the side, 15 if it's a side street. They do have some with 50-foot lot minimums. There's not very many of them. And depth is 110 minimum, and again, there's not very minimum. Building height is 3,500. Minimum living area is 1,400 square feet. Yes, it's all spelled out again in here. They're all gonna have 2 covered car parking spaces, enclosed parking spaces, just like we require. They're gonna, the 90% masonry requirements.
2 car garages?
Correct.
Oh, have a question?
So West Shram, 1002 West 4th Street. The green area is going to stay as green area, green belt?
Yeah, it's public use area.
And because they've taken a lot of trees down. And when I was looking through this, all they're requiring is a 2-inch caliper tree per lot. And I know there's probably not any more room than that, but they've taken a lot of trees out of there. So that's always my concern, that we're losing green area.
There's a lot of those trees are still, the ones that are still there are still gonna remain in that green area, and then there's a little bit around the gas well site as well that will be considered public areas, and part of the reason for that is it's in the floodplain, so there's not much anybody can do with that.
Mr. Pennington is here. We are in the middle of our public hearing to discuss your zoning change. If you have anything you'd like to say, you're free to step forward.
Well, I apologize for being late. Series of accidents I've been.
Again, I apologize. I'm here to answer any questions. Obviously, this has been a little bit different than we would typically expect, but you know, it's under construction right now, and I think some of it, at least, has to do with the phases that took place and the transitions that took place. When Dawn called and said there was a bit of an issue, I was shocked, I guess. But I'm here to answer any questions that anybody has about the project or any of the zoning issues that we presented before.
Anybody have any questions? No?
I do.
Okay.
Since I wasn't here before when this started, can you give us a timeline? We know where you are now. What's your expected timeline and your completion date?
I think the second quarter of '24, we are, it's paved, and we're now doing the franchise utilities, electric and so on, but it takes several months to get through that stage. So I would think it's, if we made it in the first quarter, I would be surprised.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Mr. Pennington.
Thank you. And again, sorry I'm late.
Is anybody else from the public that would like to speak? I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:10 PM. And now I'm going to open up the public hearing for amending the land use chart. So I'm going to open the public hearing up for the next agenda item. This is 5B at 6:11 PM.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. So on this agenda item, we're going to hold a public hearing. What we're looking at is changing the zoning ordinance for a travel center, convenience store, amending of the zoning ordinance, including without limitation, Division 1, 15, 16, and 20, to allow the new use in commercial zones, including without limitation, C2 and/or C3 zoning districts, and conditions that must be met for the permitted use of a travel center convenience store. Our current zoning and land use chart does not specifically allow for a travel center or a fuel station larger than 2,500 square feet or more than 6 fuel pumps. We have a developer that wants to put in a convenience store or fuel station that will also allow for larger trucks to refuel and shop in our town. We have been working with a company who wants to purchase some land in our town to put in a travel and fuel station, and we need to amend our zoning ordinance and land use chart to allow for this. Our town is on the verge of a growth spurt. They're looking at some land on the corner of Highway 67 and South College. This corner lot would be a great place to do this. There's a high traffic count. It is currently located in our town, or centrally located, I'm sorry, and would make a great anchor business on this corner. Approving this zoning ordinance change would bring in some much-needed sales tax revenue for our growing city. With the addition of this new allowable use, we can help the city move in the right direction and help lessen the burden of high taxes on real property and provide additional retail services for our citizens. With Highway 67 and the large amount of truck traffic on it already, let's take the opportunity to give these travelers and truck drivers a place to shop, take a break, and refuel their vehicles and bodies in our town. Inside your packets, you should have the draft ordinance for adding this new use, the land use chart update, a copy of the notice to the paper for the public hearing, and a report from P&Z that was held on December 11th, 2023. Staff recommends adding the new use to the City of Keene zoning ordinance along with P&Z for a travel center convenience store, C2 and C3 zoning. This is basically the definition for the new use: a retail establishment in a building larger than 2,500 square feet, providing for the sale of food items, non-prescription drugs, small household items and gifts, gasoline and diesel fuel, parking and other services for trucks, in other words, heavy load vehicles, and other motor vehicles, usually near a highway. The facilities at the store may include temporary parking spaces for trucks and other motor vehicles, but no overnight parking is allowed. That's the definition we want to add to our land use chart, and that's in the ordinance. The restrictions are going to come with that, which will also be added to our ordinance. No overnight parking allowed. No truck or motor vehicles shall be allowed to park overnight at the store premises. Noise prohibition. Normal business activities conducted on the premises shall not create a sound pressure level on the bounding property line that exceeds 65 decibels from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 55 decibels from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. On the truck entrances, the entrances and exits for trucks shall be no closer than 125 feet to an adjoining lot located in a residential district as measured along the common street line. So those are the definitions that we're going to add into the restrictions for that.
Is this for both C2 and C3? They're going to have the same restrictions?
Correct.
Okay.
So staff and Planning and Zoning Commission recommend passing this in C2 and C3 zoning areas. This kind of is the overall zoning map of our city. The pink area is C3. The lighter green is C2. The little darker green is residential. The yellow is public. Does anybody has any questions, or anybody from the public?
I do.
All right, this is a public hearing. Yeah, is there anybody that would like to speak? Mr. Schramm?
West Shram, 1002 West 4th Street. I have a concern about no overnight parking. If we get people in here with motorhomes and travel trailers, are we going to chase them to Cleburne? Or are we going to figure out some other way where they can park a facility like this? And I believe that's about 7 acres there, is that correct? Yes. And so I think we're doing a disservice for our travelers. I do agree that no overnight parking with diesel trucks running, but at the same time, you know, I would think that maybe they should be able to park overnight and then move on in the morning, because these guys do have to meet federal regulations for getting rest. And so that would be something that I would recommend we take a look at.
What does Alsop say about that, Mr. Martin? Are they wanting overnight parking? Are they going to have the space for that?
I thought somebody from there was supposed to be here tonight, but maybe they were running into some traffic issues as well. They were all for no overnight parking, and I believe that they said they don't allow it at any of their stores, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Don,
Yes.
you didn't mention propane sales. Are they gonna have propane bottles and stuff? Is that,
They haven't said anything about it, and their conceptual plans did not show anything about propane.
should we put it in our ordinance to cover that for those convenience stores that may come in the future that wanna sell propane bottles?
We can look into that. I know we have some ordinance on propane sales, but I couldn't rattle it off the top of my head right now.
So if we write it in the ordinance, then will we be the ones that are enforcing the overnight parking?
Yes. If you have the ordinance, the police department has to have an ordinance in order to enforce that.
Right,
Correct.
so I'm thinking, how in the world are we gonna know that this truck came at whatever time? And, I mean, when does overtime, nighttime start? When does it stop? I mean, that's gonna be a real difficult chore, if you ask me.
I'm not sure what their hours of operations are gonna be at this point, if they're gonna be a 24-hour, or they're gonna close at midnight, or 1 or 2. We don't know yet. Right now, we're just trying to get it on the books so we can have that allowable use.
I just think the overnight parking issue, much like Mr. Schramm mentioned, is gonna be a real enforcement issue, number one, and also a real inconvenience. And that goes along with the noise ordinance as well. I mean, who's gonna be out there with a meter going, oh, there goes 79 decibels, you know, I mean.
Well, the way I thought I had a map of their conceptual plan. They've changed it about 4 times already since we've started this whole project. But the only area near any homes they're gonna be parking is the few mobile homes that are right behind the, what is it, Villa Real mobile home, I think. There's 10 or 12 right behind the auto repair shop or body shop. That is the only place they're gonna be close to, and they're gonna have a concrete screening wall, I believe, was in their conceptual plan as well.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Martin?
I just don't want us to put something in an ordinance that we wind up being a real nitpick about, much like the Jake break that we talked about earlier. You know, I mean,
Right.
if we're gonna enforce it, then that's fine. But if we aren't, or if we can't, then we may as well just leave it out.
And let the store enforce it.
The what? Like, you need to get
Let
closer.
the store enforce their overnight parking, not make the city of Keene.
Oh,
Police
correct.
Department.
And I believe they said they would. They would have signage, and they would let the drivers know when they came in.
So we should strike it from our ordinance so it's not detailed on our responsibility, it's on their responsibility.
Well, this was drafted by our attorney and our planning expert, reviewed by us. So,
With all due respect to you guys' opinion, I see your point, but laws are there for enforcement when there's a complaint. I don't think anybody's running around out there with a sound meter. But if in fact we have a truck that pulls up there and stays for a week, we can send an officer out and enforce that. I doubt very seriously that our chief will want those guys going by there and checking on trucks every night. But again, we need it in our ordinance in case that happened, in case there's a complaint.
No. Anybody else from the public would like to speak? I'm going to close the,
Sorry.
you want to go ahead?
I've worked on this kind of the C2, C3 ordinance with the previous city managers and also the current city manager. I think we need to, based on this, you can see how kind of it can be a little bit frustrating. So as we design the ordinances, I know most businesses are supposed to work with us, or they are supposed to use our ordinances to be able to run their businesses so that they can be able to comply by our own kind of ordinances. But when you are designing this one, which is adding to C2, C3, were you able to coordinate or work with their representative to make sure that we don't adjust it to this format, and then they will come back and say, oh, we can't work with those kind of, limitations. You have to add this, and then you have to bring it back again to the council to add the verbiage so that they don't get in trouble.
yes, once we got the draft back from our attorney and our planner, I sent it to them and they looked at it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, council, we're going to be discussing this a minute when we go to that agenda item. So this is just the public hearing. I'm going to close the public hearing down at 6:22 PM. And move on to agenda item number 6, consent agenda. I'm going to go ahead and pull this item out of the consent agenda so that we can discuss that we had to make a change to it. So I wanted to make sure we were doing this correctly, but the minutes had to have one correction, and you have the corrected minutes in front of you, council. If you'll look at item number agenda 7A, the motion carried, we had to make that change. So it was originally saying 511, and we had to change it to 411. So we can either, since this wasn't in the packet, we can table what's here and then come back and bring it, or you have the corrected version, we can just go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes with corrections. If you have any other corrections you'd like to make, let me know. That was the only one that I saw. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah, the one in your packet, just, yeah, is the incorrect one. 7A at the bottom. So we just need probably to make a motion to approve the city council minutes dated December 7, 2023 with that correction that I just indicated. Council, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor, but I need to confirm what you're telling me.
Are you
We
not
need
sure
to.
what-
I know where it is, 7A at the bottom, is that correct?
Yeah, 7A, the vote. We're looking at the actual
So-
vote. This was the item for the CAD board members where we.
And what's the numbers again? It's
It-
411 on here.
Yeah, that's what it should be. That's what I'm telling you. The one you have in front of you is the corrected version. The one in your packet was incorrect. The one in
Okay.
your packet that was given to you this week said 511. The one that's given to you now, we had to make a correction, as 411.
Okay, I'll make a motion to pass the minutes with the change of the motion from 511 to 411.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Bells and a second by Gutwa to approve the city council minutes. I'm going to add in dated December 7, 2023, with the correction from 511 to 411, agenda item number 7A. Any further questions on the motion?
There may be another mistake on 7C. I'm not certain. But about the middle of the paragraph there, Councilmember Foster seconded, Mayor stated that council need to be aware under 551.045, it's an offense to participate in a closed meeting of a certified agenda. I'm not certain 100% that those numbers are correct, are they?
I believe it is.
Seems like it was .047. I'll have to look it up.
I can change my motion to table it until we find out this information.
I think that'd be a good idea.
I'll second that.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and just change the motion to table, and we'll double check. Okay. We're going to change this motion. We have a motion on the floor to table city council minutes dated December 7, 2023 by Bells, and a second by Gutwa. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor to table, please raise your hands. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. And we're going to check that number on 7C. Okay, now we're moving on to agenda item number 7, general discussion items. We're going to discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding approving the ordinance number 2023-665, rezoning Sunset Ridge to a planned development.
I make a motion approving ordinance number 2023-665 as presented by staff.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor to approve ordinance number 2023-665 as presented by staff by Bells and a second by Foster. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Agenda item number 7B, consider approval of ordinance number 2023-666, amending the land use chart.
I make a motion to approve city ordinance 2023-666 as presented by staff.
We have a motion on the floor to approve ordinance number 2023-666, amending the land use chart by Bells, seconded by Johnson. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Agenda item number 7C, consider entering into a service agreement with AOCA for third-party inspection services and plan reviews. Mr. Martin?
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. With all the new developments going on now and in the near future, we feel the need to have another third-party inspection company to help keep up with all the inspections, plan reviews, and permits that we are now experiencing. Our current third-party inspectors company only has one inspector that is considered local, and he drives from Denton. AOCA, pronounce that correctly? Thank you. Has several licensed inspectors within a 75-mile radius of Keene, and they also offer virtual inspections if necessary. They also have licensed fire marshals, health inspectors, as well as permit technicians if needed. We would like to provide the quickest possible turnaround time on all plan reviews, permits, and inspections. We plan to use both companies as long as necessary. Adding another inspection company to our team will not have a negative effect on our budget. Their pricing is very close to what we currently pay to ATS, and in most cases, all fees paid to them will be covered by the cost of fees that we charge the builders, developers, homeowners for their permits. Staff recommends approving entering into an agreement with Aoka Engineering LLC for third-party inspections and plan review services. So in your packet, you should have the agreement. I just had an updated agreement to those of you that took your packets home the other day. Basically, we sent that to the attorney, and he made a couple of minor changes, adding in that we should be added and listed on their insurance policy on any inspections they do within the city, and then there was another short paragraph similar to the same, which we sent back to Aoka, and they returned to us today, agreed to that, and that's the new one I put out today. And you have their fees. There should be a little building presentation. There's references, their scope of services they offer, cities that they currently work with. They're in their packet. They're also showed some of the developments that they've recently worked on, including 7-Eleven, some design groups, HEB, Kennedy Meat Market, some apartments, and your typical home builders. At this time, there's not a lot of housing. There's still just a few. So what my plan kind of is to continue using ATS for the residential type and preferably start out with Aoka doing all the commercial type. You know, we have the Tractor Supply coming in, we have Allsup's coming in, and potentially a few more, hopefully very shortly. So we've already let them kind of start on one project, which we just got the approval today on their plan review, got back and forth. Part of the issue we have in-house is that when a developer or a builder or a contractor comes to us, they submit everything, and before we send it to ATS, either myself or Steven goes through all of it and says, okay, you're missing 5, 6, 7, and 8 out of the 15 things we need. We don't want to submit it to ATS with those items that are missing. Sometimes it takes a week or two to get everything back. So that's time that we're spending doing that. And if we did send it to ATS, they would take their 10-day review time, come back to us and say, hey, 4, 5, and 6 are missing. And then once we got 4, 5, and 6, we'd send it back to ATS, and then they'd take another 10 days to look at the whole thing again. Well, this gentleman over here in his company promises that won't happen. If they submit and they only turn in 1, 2, 3 out of 10, he said, submit it to us, we will deal with them on trying to get 7, 8, 9, and 10. They have a free software program that once they set up an account and they start a plan review with somebody or a building inspection process, it kind of tracks the whole thing for them. The customer and us can get on there, log on, look at it. They don't charge any extra for that service. If we ever were to lose another employee or we got to the point where we had so many permits coming in, they have permit technicians that they could send or help process those basic permits. We'll charge a little for that, but they could also train our permit techs if we were to lose one. So they have a lot of services to offer. And Mr. Steven Encino is here to answer any questions you may have.
Respectful Mayor, respectful council, appreciate the consideration. I think Don did a great job of kind of explaining how we would be able to help the city. I'd love to answer any kind of questions that you all may have.
Explain, please, the virtual inspection.
Yes, sir. So with the way we do virtual inspections is a Texas State licensed inspector will schedule with a contractor. Contractors really do like the virtual service because they're not waiting for a window, they get an exact time. So let's say it's 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., they get a call on their either tablet or phone. They get a link to click on. Once they click on that link, it automatically geotags the location that they're at, so that way we know we're inspecting the right property. And that's one of the most important things. Then the inspector will walk them through that process of anything that he needs to review. A lot of times we'll do the virtual inspections on very minor inspections, you know, things that a contractor shouldn't have to wait all day for, right? Just a quick electrical box, just to take a look at it, make sure all, you know, everything looks good in there. Different things like that, but it's a real convenience for, like I said, the contractors. It speeds things up. They're not waiting for that window. It's a set time.
Does that go for TP inspections as well?
It depends, yes and no. I would say for the majority, yes, sir, but I mean, a lot of it just makes sense for, we're very close. Our headquarters is in Fort Worth, and so a lot of it would make sense just for us to have one of our inspectors here in person, but if speed of use, I think we can make it work as well.
I'm sure it's in the paperwork, I didn't see it. What other cities have you served? Do you have any cities you've served more than 2 years?
More than 2 years? Yes, sir, yeah.
Okay.
We have several. We work with the city of Kennedy and the city of Pleasanton, which are just south of San Antonio, suburbs of San Antonio, Texas, and we've been with them for 4 years, I believe. We handle 100% of the city of Kennedy's building department, as well as a portion of their public works department. So anything that comes in as far as permits go for the city of Kennedy, we handle. Pleasanton, we do the majority of their building as well. They do have a certified building official on staff, but everything else we handle.
So in either one of those cities that have been with you for some time, what is the average length of time for plan review?
Plan review average length is 3 days. So 3 days on review. We guarantee in the contract, basically 5 days, but we're averaging about 3 right now. And like Don said, we've been working on this project as a demo, this initial project. Very much so, we were able to cut down the time, working with himself as well as Steven and the actual contractor who submitted the initial permit. They had a few things missing, and we were just kind of able to speed that process up by them submitting it to us right away, and we were just in direct contact with their architect, their engineers, who submitted those plans, and it sped up the process. Otherwise, it would still be under review probably for another month at least.
So when you get a denial, say the 3 days is up and you have a denial, just so I'm understanding you, they can quickly send those documents in for the corrections, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, yeah. So if there's any discrepancies or issues on the plans, once they're reviewed, they're notified basically every step of the way. As soon as one of our examiners goes in and even looks at their plans, the contractor is notified, hey, we started working on your review. And then as soon as our examiner has any type of comments, again, they're notified via email. It says, hey, here are some plan check comments. These are things that need to be corrected. And so that is part of the process, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry. When was your company founded?
Originally, we were founded in 2018.
2018?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
how many employees do you approximately have?
Right now, we are about to hire 2 more, but I believe we have 47 total right now across the state.
Across the state? I was going to say, and you have them in other states as well, or just Texas?
We have 2 other employees outside of Texas that are plans examiners. So we are able to staff master code professionals. We have 6 master code professionals, which are the highest designation that ICC provides when it comes to plan review. And we're able to do that because they do the work remotely. And so there's only 800 in the country, and we have 6 of them, and we're about to hire 2 more. So that's exciting to me, but you know, it means you have competent people reviewing your plans, which I think is a big deal. Any other questions?
You guys have any more questions for Stephen? Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, thank you.
I have a question for,
All right, do you guys have any questions for Mr. Martin about this item?
yes, I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So you are saying, so how did we come to, like, how are you able to link with us for you to be able to choose Keene as your customer or something?
Yeah. You wanna
What was the
go
process?
ahead.
Was it through bidding or
Yeah.
a friend referred you or?
Marketing on our business development's part, we sent out an email to Don as well as Stephen, asking if we can help in any way. And we ended up speaking with Don briefly, and we set up a meeting and kind of discussed the issues that, that you guys are having currently with the ATS inspector and how we could possibly help with the growth of the city. Yes, sir.
Okay. So then I'll have a question for
Of course.
Martin. So based on the current, you said the workload and a turnaround, you said we have an option now to add another company. So in the beginning, when we were giving the ATS an opportunity to work for us and help us with the inspection processes, was there an issue with the workload, or was there did something change that we were not kind of aware of?
I think it's been about 5 or 6 years when we first went to ATS. We left Bureau Veritas. When we were with Bureau Veritas, we had an inspector that lived close by, been working with our city, knew it well, knew most of the builders, the contractors. Well, he retired. So Bureau Veritas is a lot bigger company. We kind of got pushed down to the bottom of that list of we need an inspection. So that's when we started looking for other companies, and we went to ATS. At the time, ATS had 2 plan developers and 3 inspectors that lived in the local area. So they were a great help. But since then, they've been focusing more on the Austin area. Their plan developers all moved down to Austin. So its communication sometimes is a little difficult. Their one inspector that they have that is local drives from Denton all the time. So he's called off sick a few times, which happens, or he's had an emergency, which then you have to call the contractor and say, hey, look, you're sorry your inspection was had to be canceled for today. Now we got to wait till tomorrow. And then with all this new development coming in, we have potentially 1,000 new homes in the next 5 years. I don't see how one inspector is going to be able to handle all that. And they don't plan on adding any local inspectors that I'm aware of.
So, and then that now leads to another problem, whereby as we are keeping up with the developments coming in and the workload and all that stuff. So what if they, under their contract, if they say maybe next year we are not, I don't know, is it a yearly contract or is
It's similar to the contract you have in front of you. It's an as-needed basis. Either party can terminate it with a 30 to 45-day written notice. So there's really no obligation there.
And according to your plan, you're saying ATS is going to focus on residential, and then AOCA is going to focus on business or
That's
commercial.
my plan right now, yes.
Okay. Now, what happens if the other company, this company that we are using now, you're saying that they are overwhelmed in terms of the workload that we are currently kind of working towards? What if they decide to say, you know what, we can't do it because of the personnel, you know?
That's why we want
So
that.
then you end up having residential and commercial.
Correct.
So is there a requirement that we have to have a bidding process, because that tends to kind of give all the people that are dealing with the city a little bit of fair kind of a process?
I didn't understand what you said.
Is there a requirement, or, you know, for some of our, you know, companies that are working with the city, like, you know, the inspection and also to give like a bidding process, to go through bidding process.
I believe this falls under the professional services exemption.
Right.
So we don't need to go through the bidding.
Attorney and engineer, stuff like that. So
Okay. And,
we'll check with that, Phil.
and also the current company, will there be kind of like a disclosure whereby we might have like conflict of interest, whereby some companies might be getting some kind of going through maybe some processes whereby other companies that might want to work with Keene, which might have very good kind of quality process in place to handle some of these commercial buildings and residential that are coming up, whereby we can give these individuals a fair process, a fair kind of you know, evaluation to make sure we are getting the best return for the taxpayer in terms of quality services that are being provided. So I'm asking, is there an option for disclosure so that at least there's a little bit of limited information the way your company, you know, your employees, of course the mayor did ask about the employees when you started, and you said your location is in Fourth Ward? So do you have any location nearby, maybe Cleburne, or it's just Fourth Ward?
Fort Worth is our home base. I know the closest inspector is in Burleson.
Yes.
That's our closest inspector that I know right off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I know we do have several in the area, I just don't know.
We got it.
He's out of
hard to
San
pick up
Antonio.
live.
Apologies.
He's in San Antonio is where he lives.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry. So our closest inspector is in the city of Burleson. We do have several inspectors around the area. I just don't know the specific cities that they're in, but I do know Burleson is our closest inspector for in-person. But we have, in the DFW Metroplex area, I believe we have about 35 inspectors basically on staff. And so, I mean, to be able to kind of pick up and help in any aspect, really, whether it's strictly us doing commercial, or if there's an issue where we do need to come in and handle the residential as well. That's why everything in our contract is as needed. So if there's a service that is needed, then, you know, Don can tap us and just say, hey, you know, we need you guys now for residential as well, and then we'll allocate the staff.
okay, thank you, sir.
Don, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Don. Do you know what ATS's staffing is? You know, he says he's got 48, 46 employees. Do you know what ATS has?
Not off the top of my head. I know that the ones that they did have local have all moved down to Austin. That's where they're,
Right. So
seem to be focusing their business now.
it seems like this company has more resources locally for us than ATS does.
Correct. That was the big reason. You had a question
I
for
have a
him?
question for, yes, the young man there.
Yes, sir.
So I'm reading through your materials, and Don mentioned the training services that you provide.
Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on that? Is there a fee for that? Is it
Yes, sir. So,
on a individual basis?
yes, so our normal fees are typically pass-through fees, right? Contractors pay the fees, and, you know, essentially, we bill the city, city pays us with those funds. With the training fees, those would have to come out of, you know, city funds, building department funds, I'm sure. But we will train permit techs, code enforcement officers, or a building official, should the city decide to hire anybody new or somebody internally. We've done it with several other cities. We're actually, we're doing it right now for the city of Del Rio on their, for fire marshal. And so we're currently training up the fire marshal to get a certification, and we're helping them with that process currently. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So is our plan, Mr. Martin, to ever go ahead and let ATS go and exclusively just use one company? Can our budget handle two companies paying them?
Well, like he mentioned, it's pretty much pay as you go. We charge the fee, the contractor pays us, we pay him.
But is our plan to weed out ATS at some point and keep it all in one
It
company?
seems like they're kind of headed in that direction with focusing mostly on the Austin.
Are they
area.
aware that you're looking at a second company?
I have no idea. I'm trying to do what I feel is best for the city and our developers and contractors and everything else. We got a lot of stuff going on, and I just don't feel the ATS can keep up with it.
In light of your recommendation, I'd make a motion to approve the service agreement with AOCA as presented by staff.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the service agreement with AOCA as presented by staff by Foster, and a second by Beeson, who we're getting credit to. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 7D, discuss and give staff direction regarding the long-term plan for EMS services for the city.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens. I believe City Manager had an opening statement for this.
Yes, I'll give you a little bit of background on this item. We were asked by the county to meet regarding our EMS services. Their EMS service contract with their current provider is up in the spring, so they are looking to go out for bids for a new 5-year contract. So they requested a meeting with us and wanted to know kind of what our plan was, 3 to 5+ year plan, because what we do does impact them, whether we keep what we have, whether we expand our services, or whether we look at other options like using their contract. So we put together a presentation tonight, but it's pretty significant, and it's a pretty significant discussion that may warrant its own whole workshop, because that's a
I
big
agree.
issue to tackle. So we are prepared to present tonight if council would like. Otherwise, I would suggest tabling, and we can have another meeting on that.
I would
because
like
it's
us
a
to
big
see this
topic.
do it under our own workshop, maybe,
Yeah.
because this is going to be quite an extensive discussion. I know we've had it once before.
We did think it was, it is a little bit time sensitive because they have to get their contract ready to go out, their proposal. Sometime, early January,
We could do that.
need to come back to this. But, so that's the backstory on that.
What do you think, council? You want to push this and go ahead and schedule a workshop, or put it on the next meeting?
Mayor, being a little new to this, explain the difference between a workshop and discussing on council.
Mr. Batla, do you want to explain?
Well, that would be pretty much the only thing. It's kind of like a special called meeting. It would be the only thing on there for discussion, and we could go into that, in detail. It meets the same open meeting requirements and posting requirements.
So it's not like a budget workshop where we pulled in people from,
The whole thing would just be that one topic, yeah, and public can come up and talk to us and give us their,
Okay.
yeah, more freely than they usually do,
so basically it's a special council meeting.
Pretty much.
Okay.
kind of, yeah.
I'm prepared to answer any questions if you so choose, and maybe that would help you better make a decision on how you want to proceed.
I'll make a motion to table it till January. Second, which would be, what, the first one is the 4th? Well, we probably need to do a workshop, so I'll change that motion to, what would be the date in January?
Before you actually go through that motion, can I add a piece of pertinent information?
Sure.
It is my understanding that the county would like an answer from the city of Keene by no later than the end of January. So this is fairly time sensitive. They would need time to draft their request for proposals, and that's why they are pushing for an answer so quickly.
I think we can just make a motion to say we'll plan a meeting at the beginning of January and then have him help us figure out what's the best date at that point, because we'll have to look at everybody's schedule. to see what-
Okay, the motion will be for the special meeting in early January.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to table item agenda 7D, discussion and give direction to staff regarding the long-term plan for EMS services to the city by Bells, to schedule a workshop in early January, and a second by Foster. Any further discussion on that motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, council, and look forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Chief.
agenda item number 7E, discussion on social media postings by the mayor and council. I think Mr. Batla said he had a statement on this, too.
I do not have a statement on this. We did talk about this quite a bit in our special meeting, so I don't have any staff report on this item.
I understand that the council would like to create like a code of conduct that we would do, so I was going to recommend that we change the wording of this and we push it to another meeting in January where we actually say discussion on creating a code of conduct for our council members or something similar versus just talking about social media postings, because I think it was more about conduct and not necessarily related to social media, but
No, it was both. It was social media
it was social
also,
media, okay.
yes.
Did it get covered in Monday's meeting when you all met?
It did a little bit, Mayor. The attorney talked about, he called it a code of procedure,
Okay,
which is pretty like an all-encompassing.
okay,
So he is going to send me a few draft copies that cities adopt that cover this types of stuff, these types of things. So
okay. Okay, so we can put that on another agenda and then we'll look at those that he sends us.
And I'm going to ask the question anyway, if this is the time. Your post, the last council meeting that I was going to ask about,
Okay.
I feel like I don't understand why in your post on social media, you basically called, well, you did call the council racist, and you said that we would not accept a woman as mayor. I think we have accepted you. There are women vice presidents, women chiefs of police, everything. So, I think we have accepted you. So maybe it's you that.
Okay.
I just don't understand why this was posted on social media.
Okay, I did not call the council a racist. I did never use the word racist, and I never called out an individual council member by name. You took it that way, but that's not.
Would you like for me to read it?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. At Thursday's meeting, council once again made their views known that they will not accept a woman as mayor, nor a man from Kenya as mayor pro tem. The open hostility toward both of us was evident by their words and actions. This is a sad day for Keene, for your viewpoint.
Okay, as you just read, I did not call you a racist. I did say that you wouldn't accept me as a woman mayor. I am a woman, and I am the mayor. And I also said that you wouldn't accept Thomas Gutwa as a man from Kenya. He is a man, and he is from Kenya. There are other races that live in Kenya, not just black individuals. I didn't mention color in that post at all. And yes, at that meeting, after I posted that, I did not feel that I was accepted as a woman mayor, and I have not felt accepted as a woman mayor since the day of my swearing in. And I get that basis from everything that you guys have said to me during open meetings, as far as that you don't trust me, and the fact that I make nominations to nominate a pro tem 2 years in a row, and you didn't accept my nomination. So that's why I feel not accepted as a woman mayor. So that is my opinion, and I did post it.
Do you think it helped Keene out by your posting this on social media?
Do I think it helped what, Keene?
Keene?
I don't know. I don't know what it did for us, Keene. But I also know I'm not the only individual that does post on social media, and some of this council has also posted as well, and they've posted more harshful things about me. But I'm not here to talk about that, because it's not relevant to the city, and we're here to do the business of the city, and we're here to move forward progressively together, so,
Can I ask you a question, Mayor Parrish?
sure.
Why do you feel a need for additional security since my election?
Because there's been some comments posted on Facebook, and I've been enduring a hostile situation since July of last year, even at my council meetings. I've had multiple members of the public come forward to the podium and say defamatory type words toward me. They've done name calling, and they've done bullying and harassment on social media and during my meetings. And I've had previous cases of council members following me to my vehicle. after I've left meetings and stuff, telling me they didn't like how I voted, they didn't like how I decided on issues and stuff, and so that's why I asked for additional police security.
Since my election, what have I done?
Since your election, you posted on social media that I should be treated as a serial killer, and
No,
I don't
did not.
appreciate
I'd
that
like you,
term.
I'd like for you to present that to me.
Okay, I
I
can
have
do
not
that.
ever seen that.
Samantha Gillen wrote, David Newsom and Brian Poor, Yankee, same person, Chris or Lisa Parrish, wow, was it not all over Yankee who were at the Alamo at the same time? And to her, Chuck Easley said, honestly, we should treat these people like serial killers and never mention their name. They feed off the fact that they're in your head. Ignore them. I take that as a threat. How else would you treat someone as a serial killer?
But you realize that that is the Daily Wire's agenda as well. They will not mention serial killers' names because they don't give them that authority. I'm not talking about you in those comments. I'm talking about those other gentlemen who won't show their face in this building. David Newsom, Eric Youngke's been here once that I've noticed. I never once called you a serial killer. I said we should treat those people on Facebook who use Facebook as a bully pulpit, we should ignore them.
Again, after this last meeting that just happened on Monday, one of our board members also posted that the executive session was supposed to have been my execution session. I also take that in an offensive way, that you guys had some plan for me on Monday in the back room.
I never saw that.
So I didn't say you said it, I said a board member.
I never saw that.
Okay, I saw it, and I've sent it to Mr. Batla, and he has it in his possession. But we should not be talking about council members and having execution sessions. We should not be talking about treating council members or the mayor as a serial killer. I find that highly threatening and offensive, that anybody would even consider that, because how would you treat a serial killer if you thought somebody was a serial killer? You kill them before they kill you.
In the context of my comment.
You mean harm to them.
In the context of my comment, it means you ignore the comment. You don't talk about
I
it.
understand what you're saying, but according to Ms. Beeson, she said that I called her a racist, but I didn't. I said that she didn't accept me as woman mayor, so
I think everybody who
all I
read
can do
that
is read the
mess-
actual words you said. I don't know the context of why you posted it or
I
what
believe
your intent
everybody
was.
who read that statement knew what you meant.
So yes, that's why I asked for extra police security.
You don't need it from me, ma'am. I have no desire to harm anyone.
I think that we can all do better, counsel, with what our social media posts are. I think that we can. I think that we can all. I would love to see a social media post by one of my council members that said, thank you, Mayor, for having a great idea for the Christmas market. Thank you, Mayor, for going out of your way to give a proclamation to Matt Davis's family because their son was brutally murdered at a Sonic. I would love to see some comments like that, and I have not seen one since I've been in office. So that's why I say I don't feel you've accepted me as a woman mayor.
Is
So
that
until
why you felt it necessary to list all of the things that you
No,
intended this year?
I'm not asking you to
on
list
social
all of them.
media?
I'm asking for one. Show me one. What's in
never-
your possession right now that you have where you've thanked me, said that I'm a great mayor, that you like what I'm doing, that I show up every meeting, that I'm faithful with my job, that I execute the duties to the best of my ability? Show me something. And
Because,
then,
Mayor, I do not feel like you're a good mayor. Leave it at that.
that's my point of why I made the post saying you don't accept me as a woman mayor then.
Mayor Parrish, my comment about Mr. Batla and the Christmas market is because that's the first I heard of it. I didn't hear about it or see your postings because you've had me blocked.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to have any comments about social media postings by the mayor and council? Yes, Ms. Gillen?
Mayor and Council, Samantha Gillen, 218 West 4th Street. Mayor and Council, you keep saying that you're discriminated against because you're a woman mayor. I definitely wanted to support you as a woman, businesswoman, and I've held political positions too, not here. But you're not the first woman mayor we've had. You're the first elected woman mayor we've had. The other two woman mayors were very professional in their demeanor and the way they treated citizens and council. And they didn't particularly care about everyone, but they could work with them, they respected them, and that kind of thing. You've not done that. But No, you're not the first woman mayor we've had. I just wanted to clarify that for anybody that's listening. And you're not the only one that's been threatened or whatever, you know.
I understand.
Okay. And so just saying that just because someone puts something in, if I took everything literally that everybody put in Facebook about me, it would be awful. And we spend police time trying to protect people. I don't even ask for the police protection. If I call them and I need them, they'll be there, and they would for you as well. But it did sound to me like you were insinuating that council was threatening you. And so, to me, I just wish for some, you know, if I had my wish, seriously, that you would go on Facebook or wherever and you'd say, look, I'm the mayor of Keene. I want what's best for Keene, and I know my supporters are out there, and I know some of you are angry, and I know some of you have bad opinions about people and everything, but could we please just stop it and get on with the business of Keene, rather than everybody's opinion about how sorry someone is, what a drunkard someone is, whatever. Why can you not, as our mayor?
I have done that.
No.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't, and I guarantee you haven't, and I guarantee you, I don't want to say anything else other than I just wish you would step up and say, look, you're my supporters, I appreciate you, whatever, but let's stop that. Mr. Gutwa, you have a website on there, Citizens, that could just be a real asset to Keene. But it's the filthiest, mouthed, horrible website I've seen. You know, if I go on there and I say something, and I haven't been real nice on some things, but it's usually about the opinion of that person or what that person is doing, not that ugly, fat, blonde-headed, and bad hair, day, whatever thing. I don't cut people personally, how they personally look or anything else. And I have a grandson that's in Uganda, and I love him to death. And so for them to be calling me a racist is just crazy. I have black grandchildren, I have black adopted grandson, I have Hispanic people in my family. I'm not racist, but I'm just saying there's ways to clean up a website that could really be an asset to Keene, and you and our mayor are the two biggest people that could help do that. And I'm just asking you to please try that. Don't just try it. See if you can tell them outright where everybody else can read what you're doing, because right now I'm blocked. I mean, I can read Citizens, but I'm blocked from responding to anything, which is okay. It's okay. But I keep reading it, hoping that I'll see something really, really good come out of there, and so far I haven't seen anything. And I know there's all these other websites out there that people are making comments on that they don't use their right name, and those are horrible. But anyway, that's just a request of you guys.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Ms. Gillen.
Oh, excuse me. Just for the correction, I mean, I don't need to respond to every single response or comment, but I used to be an admin. I used to help with the page that you said, Keene Citizen, but I'm no longer an admin to that. So if I can be able to help saying that I own it, that's not true
Well,
at the moment.
not what I'm
But I
asking.
used to be an admin.
I'm sorry.
I used to be an admin.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
And I'm not asking you to do that as an admin. I know your wife is an admin. I know that Mr. Jenke is an admin. He is the filthiest mouthed person I've ever heard, and he is
Okay,
very degrading to women.
From what I know, Yankee is not an admin.
Well, he acts like he is, and it says that he is, or a moderator. And
I don't know. It's public. You
a
can
group
go there.
expert or whatever. He's an expert on your site. I'm just saying, he's on there a lot, and nobody goes in there and cuts him off. Nobody deletes what he says. And he says very personal, very intimate type things about people. He cuts them down. He calls them bad names, women bad names. It's a very personal thing. It's not anything about their opinion or what they're politically for. It's them personally. And an admin, I don't care if it's your wife or who's the admin on that place, you did form it, then you could have some say-so in, we've got rules. This is not according to our rules. And stop it. I mean, you guys have a lot of power. It's bad power right now, and you could make it good in 100,000 different ways, and you don't want to. if you don't want to try to go in there and talk to those admin people that you turned it over to, because I know you did get away from there as an admin. But somehow in the background, you may still be doing it. We just don't know, but you're not stopping it. And I feel like you could. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes,
Jen wants to speak.
I'm sorry?
Jen wants.
Oh, okay, Ms. Baggett.
Kind of off what Ms. Gillen said, 200 Pine Street, Jen Baggett. Mr. Gutwa, I'm going to ask you personally right here, eye to eye, adult to adult. I've read everything they've said. My outfits, my hair, and it's vile. I want to ask you something. If this were your wife, your family, I'm not talking, oh God, yeah, I disagree with what she said politically, blah, blah, blah. She's Republican, she's Democrat, blah. I'm not talking that. They're calling me vile, slanderous names. Would you be okay if it was your wife, your children? Answer me, simple yes or no. Think about that. Because, sir, if you're truly about this city and my family voted for you, do the right thing and stop it. Eric Yankee, Tatiana, Mikey Lujan, cowards, and you allow it. I'm right here. I was raised to be an adult and just duke it out in the playground, then we dust ourselves off, go home. But this cowardice that you allow on your page, you and your wife, think real hard what you would think if this were reversed. Because freedom of speech. Ms. Parrish could have a long time ago said, let's come together. We're not all going to love one another or like, even respect. But sure as heck it's okay to be an adult. Picking on me, on my outfit, is that the best y'all got? Don't come up here talking about civility and decorum when you yourself are blatantly allowing this stuff. How do you guys sleep at night? Freedom of speech, I love it. But this is way beyond acceptable. Because just know, what if it was the other way? This isn't what Keene is about. Far from it. There's a great amount of wonderful people that are employed by the city, work their butts off for this city, and love the city. And my last kid's about to graduate. Y'all need to be showing a much better example of why we voted you in. What I've seen on that page, just think, you have a daughter, sir. Would you be okay if any man, what you've seen on your page, spoke like that of her? Yes or no? Don't answer me. Think about it.
I'd like to hear an answer to that, sir.
Remember,
We're not here
no,
to-
Oh, yes, we are.
No,
That's
we're
what this
not.
is
We're not
for.
here to- he's already
We
explained
want
it's not
to
an admin
hear.
on that
if my
page.
We
name can be
want to
smeared
hear.
all over your page, answer Mr. Bells, because you have a daughter. I've got a daughter.
And your answer is?
So are you trying to tell me that you want?
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm asking you to answer the lady.
Okay, I don't own the page.
Excuse me?
You can reach out to the admins and they will be able to.
They have, just like her, she blocked most of the city day one. Day two, you blocked the rest. So this whole, I voted for her because she was openly communicative, openly trust, all this good stuff, out the door. Most of this town and their mother are blocked from your sites. It's such a cowardice thing to block a person from a website and let people slander them and their family. You came to my home, sir, with your wife, and said you would take care of it. You came to my best friend's home and did the same thing. Send it to me. We did. You did nothing, sir. How do you sleep at night calling yourself Christian?
All right, Ms. Baggett, your 3 minutes is up. If you'll please take a seat.
You know, I was going to wait on this, but I prepared a little statement that I'd like to read at this time.
Go ahead.
Recently, the mayor posted on her mayor Facebook page that the city council's actions in not appointing Thomas Gutwa as the mayor pro tem were based upon the mayor's gender and the race or national origin of Mr. Gutwa. I want to make it crystal clear that allegation is completely false. Any lack of trust that I have towards Mayor Parrish or Councilman Gutwa has nothing to do with the mayor's gender or the race or national origin of Mr. Gutwa. Instead, any lack of trust that I may have toward the mayor comes from her actions, including surreptitious recording of conversations, unjustified criticism of city staff, and irresponsible social media posts such as the one we've been talking about tonight. Any lack of trust that I may have toward Councilman Gutwa is based upon his unquestioned support of the mayor regardless of whether she is right or wrong. I can assure you that my vote, and I believe my fellow council members' votes, will always be based solely upon what is best for the citizens of Keene. That being said, I want to make a public call to my fellow council members, including the mayor, that it is now time to stop the public bickering and accusations. It is time for all of us as city leaders to stand together for the good of the city of Keene. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do have to treat each other with civility and respect. That is why I'm asking council to make a pledge voluntarily to follow the code of conduct that I have drafted. There's a code of conduct in each of our packets tonight under section E, and I'd like to read that to the assembly if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Take a little bit of water here first. There are basic principles of decency, honesty, and civility that we, as representatives of the city of Keene, have a moral obligation to observe and uphold so that our citizens can feel confident that their city is being represented well and the will of the people is clearly and fairly represented. Therefore, number one, I, as a member of the City Council of the City of Keene, will conduct myself publicly and privately in a manner that is representative of a public servant and beneficial to the City of Keene, and will not permit the use of character defamation, whispering campaigns, libel, slander, or scurrilous attacks on my fellow council members, city staff, or anyone who works in any capacity related to the city. Number two, I will not act, base any decision on, or falsely allege against my fellow council members that their actions are motivated by discrimination or prejudice based on race, sex, religion, or national origin. Number three, I will not post on social media any information that misrepresents, distorts, or otherwise falsifies the facts, nor will I use malicious or unfounded accusations that aim at creating or exploiting doubts in the public's mind about the personal integrity of my fellow council members. Number four, I will not harass, intimidate, bully, or use any other threatening, disruptive behavior toward council members or anyone that I have authority over. Number five, I will immediately and publicly repudiate methods and tactics that may come from others that, by this code of conduct, I have pledged not to use or condone, and I will take appropriate action against anyone who violates any provision of this code of conduct. I, the undersigned city council member of the city of Keene, do hereby voluntarily endorse, subscribe to, and solemnly pledge to uphold this code of conduct to the best of my ability, and I will sign that tonight. And I encourage my fellow council members to do the same.
Oh, I have a question, Council.
Do you have a question?
I have a question, Mayor. Councilman Foster, yeah, everything sounds good. So I have a question. What is whispering campaign under number one? Can you define it?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory to everybody who would read that, much like the mayor's insinuation that she didn't call us racist, but she did imply that. I think it's pretty easy to figure that that's a whispering campaign. She didn't call us racist or sexist, not in so many words, but yet that's the implication. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean about whispering campaigns. That's what I just want to. I know you have explained what somebody might interpret based on reading or interpretation based on individuals' kind of, background. Because the way I was reading the post, you can say something is wrong if you read too much into it. Because he said, a man from Kenya. Yeah, I'm from Kenya, it's a fact. Somebody might have a problem with that, but that's a fact. You might think, I also look from different ways on things. I have a different background in terms of culture. I've also studied in a US system, so I see different ways of how you can interpret something. But by just saying, that if you say a man from Kenya, you are talking about racism, that might not be actually
I guess
correct.
the bigger question is, are you going to sign the code of conduct tonight or not?
It's not clearly defined. Some of them are clear, some of them are, I can interpret, you say whispering campaign. I can read into something and say, oh, you are calling me like this, even though the intention that somebody wrote, based on what somebody wrote, is not what they're intending, as you are claiming.
So the mayor wants us to all get along and sing Kumbaya, and yet she posts at will on Facebook things that you could take evidently your way or the way the majority of everybody that I've ever talked to in Keene takes it, and yet her conscience is clear. I'm saying, let's get rid of that gray area. Let's make it, hey, the mayor's doing a great job, Rob's doing a great job, Gwen, right down the line. Let's get rid of all this insinuation, this read between the lines, just, oh, I didn't say that. That's garbage. Why would you post that? Why would you post that you need extra security because Mr. Easley is now a member of council? What does that do to the public? What do they think about that? Is that not, an insinuation that he's dangerous to you? Why do you insist on the chief of police following you out to your car every night? Has anyone ever thrown an egg at you, papered your car?
I've had people follow me to my car.
I'm not saying I followed you to your car. Is that why the police chief has escorted you?
No, not because of you specifically. It's
Okay.
a culmination of things that, like I said, have been occurring over the past 6 months, is the why I have an escort to my car.
Okay, so my question is, are you going to sign this code of conduct tonight? Do you have
Again,
any questions about what is said here?
This is a voluntary code of conduct, is what you said. This is something that you, as just an individual council member, wrote. I would like to see us move forward with a code of conduct, but it should be something collective that the council compiles together, not just an individual member. If I were to write a code of conduct, would you sign one that I wrote? No, you would want to make your
If
own.
this was the verbiage in
We
the
would
one that
want
you
to-
wrote,
we would
if
want
this
to
was
work
the
on it
verbiage
together.
in the one that you wrote, Mayor, I would have no problem signing this. Mr. Bells, do you have a problem signing this?
I have no problem with it, and I want to give the definition, a whispering campaign, a systematic circulation of a rumor, typically in order to damage someone's reputation. I would like to see everyone here sign this tonight. Mayor, in executive session, I asked you months ago to stop on social media. You said, I can't. And I agree with you, you cannot, because you receive joy from all the reaction that you get from social media. That's the reason. I don't post on social media, nor do I read social media. But what has happened to this city is a direct cause from things that have come from your posts, and that is a fact.
I think the attorney already discussed this at the meeting Monday, that we are all allowed to post on social media. So
We
it's not
have
a
an
question,
agenda
it's not a
item to
question of
discuss it.
posting. It's this council's not liking what I post.
Would you like it if I posted it about you?
I've had multiple people post about me
Would
for
you
the
like
past
it
6
if
months.
I posted it?
Of course not.
Of course. So why should we like it?
I haven't posted about you.
You see the reaction there. They're not laughing They're laughing because of your
Yeah,
answer, because your
agenda
answer
item
is
not
ridiculous.
productive at this point.
Mayor, we're here to discuss this, and we will do that until this council is through discussing it, and you will not close this meeting.
All right, well, then continue, I guess, and keep discussing it, and I'll wait until you finish.
Okay? Will you sign the paperwork?
No, sir,
that
I'm
we
not going to
have?
sign this form.
Okay. Who all here is, as a council, is willing to sign it? Pretty obvious, isn't it?
Mayor, why will you not sign it? What do you object to?
I don't like the language in it, and I don't feel like I said it. There is no penalty for violating it, and I feel like if you sign it, you guys are just going to use it against a bullying tactic against me or Mr. Gutwa. If you think that we violated it, you're going to be the judge and jury, as you are tonight, to decide that we're posting hateful stuff and that you guys have all been the target of it. And
Then my
yeah.
suggestion is that you not post anything that could be taken in a negative way.
That you've
on
got-
so-
you've got
Wait, I
absolute-
believe I've got the floor for just a second. Have you read anything that I've posted that was slanderous, scandalous, scurrilous, anything like that?
I don't know about anything slanderous or anything, but you have posted.
Once in a while, I'll post the truth. I post the facts. I correct some mistruths that are out there, some distortions of the truth. That's all I've done. If I misstated something, I'll take full ownership that I was incorrect, but I've never posted that someone was racist, sexist, attack someone for their outfit on Facebook. All that kind of stuff does not belong in the city of Keene, and especially coming from the mayor and a council person. And this anonymous stuff, which can possibly be tracked back to someone in this room, needs to come to an end, because that really does a lot of damage, because everybody knows, not everybody knows, let me back that up. A lot of people suspect that they know who it is, and it looks like it's pointing in the wrong direction. So cut that out, too.
Ms. Gillen, did you have something else you want to say?
I just want to ask if it's possible to put something else, however you all do it, on the code of conduct. And I know that the attorney said that it's okay for Mr. Gutwa to have his camera here. But as a private citizen, if I just want the city cameras to get me when I'm talking, do I have permission to ask him to please not record me? Because everything he records on there has nefarious endings coming out on Facebook with different connotations and different things on it. And so maybe the councilman could put in your code of conduct that no personal council person could film everything, as long as the city, just because of being professional and courteous to the citizens who might want to talk. I know that the attorney said it was legal, but if I ask you to turn it off when I came up to talk, would you do that?
Ms. Gillen, I don't know if you realize it, but we're being live streamed right now, so
no, I know.
you're already on
No,
camera.
I understand that.
So his camera has no difference than what that camera is
Yes, it
seeing. It's
does.
seeing the same view.
Yes, it does, Mayor. It does, and you know it. It gets edited, it gets put on Danny Roberts' Facebook page and everything else. I've seen it. So I'm just saying, I'm asking now, and I realize everything's on live stream because he's got his camera going there. But if I ask you not to do that, even though you have the legal right to, would you not do it? Would you turn it away from me?
Can I answer you, please?
I'm
Okay.
sorry?
Can I answer you?
Yes,
Okay.
I ask you.
Education is very important, and I've tried to educate, and sometimes both the staff and the council, we have the citizens, in the past. I've recorded in this room many times.
You used to stream.
I've recorded many times, many years. And according to Texas, Open Meeting, Act, you have some rights, whether you are a government agent, a city official, and you know that the ethics, city ethics, and city laws can't triumph the state law. So you are allowed. And in the past, it is not our intention, once you record, that we can be able to share the whatever footage that doesn't constitute to what actually the meeting is. And we have done that in the past out of courtesy. But right now, when I record, you might have a different kind of interpretation, thinking I'm trying to record for, like I have bad intention. No.
Sir, I don't want to cut you off.
Yes.
But the last few that you've recorded in here have gone on to Danny Roberts' website immediately, and not all of it's there because I've been here. It's just been bits and pieces of different things. And so when I come here and I talk, I want it to be what I say. I'm a big girl. I give my name. I say it. It's there, just like on Facebook. My picture's there. I say it. I mean it. If I'm wrong, I'm going to apologize. I'm a big girl. But that goes on there, and there's things said on there that you didn't do. It gives people the wrong idea, and then they come on there and say things that you did not say and you did not mean, just like you're trying to say serial killers, which he did not mean the way she took it or the way she's saying it is. There's got to be a reason why you're doing that other than just for training, because you could also, as a councilman, can you not get a copy of the one that the city records?
This is a city property.
Well, you're a
I can
city-
request, just like you
request
open record and they'll give me the video.
Yes, but
But I have to go through
pay
the
for it,
process.
And you're earning money right now off of the recordings and stuff that you're doing whenever you sell them to people.
Okay, I don't, okay, let me just be clear. I don't, if I sell you the video, the cost, it might be something else. I charge, if it takes me, the time that it takes me, I'll charge for that. The video itself is free, you can have it.
Right.
But you have to charge for the time.
Yes, sir. The city streams
Yes.
for free. I can read it for free. If I do an open record rack, I can get that.
They'll
Do I have to do one to get that? Or
If you want it here, you can have it, just request, I'll
I'm just
give it to you.
saying, if the question I asked you originally, which I want to go back to, is if I come in here and you want to continue to record, if I ask you, please do not record what I'm asking or what I'm saying, would you not do it? Out of courtesy, if nothing else.
That one depends. I can't guarantee you yes or no.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Beeson? Thank you. And then we need to move on, council, at 7:32.
Mayor, we will continue discussing this until the council makes a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Bells, please do not bully me in the meeting.
Okay, Don Beeson, 607 Woodlawn. Mr. Gutwa,
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you, would you please turn the camera off while I speak to you?
Can you ask the city to
I'm
turn off?
No, sir, that is public. That's available to anybody that wants it, and I know it, yours is not. Would you mind turning it off while I speak to you?
Mr. Gutwa does not have to turn off his recording
Okay,
device.
you remember that, Mayor, when you see something different, would you please? Because you've been shown to made a lot of mistakes lately. You cannot film, one individual cannot film another individual without their permission, once they know they're being filmed. Now, I'm going to ask you 3 times, because that's what the law requires. The 3rd time, will you turn the camera off while I speak to you, please?
This is a public space.
Okay, that's it. That's all right. Let me tell you something. You talk about your camera. I asked through open records request to get a copy of some tapes to see what you said, because I really believe you edit some of those tapes. That's my personal feeling. It took about a month, and $176 before I got that. And I think you made some money, and I hated that, but I was willing to play the game. Last week, I turned your camera around, or last Monday, and I turned it around during an executive session because no one was in here, needed to be filmed. There was no business for you to film. And I stood right in front of it so you know who I was when I turned it around. Less than 24 hours later, it was on the website. It was on Daniel Roberts' website. Why did it take me a month to get something, and he got it less than 24 hours? Would you answer that question?
You can ask the city manager and the
No,
city
I'm
secretary.
asking you, why did he have it in less than 24 hours, and it took me about a month to get it? Why couldn't I have gotten it 24 hours?
I'm saying...
You didn't even answer my response for 9 days.
I'm answering, sir. Your response is your response, if you want to know why it took long, ask the city manager and the
I know
city
exactly
secretary.
why, because we argued over the price. You wanted to charge me maintenance on your car while you drove down to Walmart to get a little thumb drive to record it on. But I'm asking you, how did Danny get it in less than 24 hours to put it on Facebook with his own little comments about me wobbling up here? That's exactly what he said. I wobbled up, and I have a problem, and I don't have no problem with that. You're talking about saying bad things about people. Why you allow him to say that kind of stuff? But anyway, why did he get it 24 hours and it took me a month? You can't answer that question, can you?
I don't
Because you do it the way you want to do it. And I've asked you 3 times to turn it off, and you didn't do it, so. And that's documented on these cameras, too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
I've asked Mr. Gutwalk, and I have a open records request for the video from yesterday. Mr. Roberts received the video within 24 hours. I have not received the one that I asked for in open records. I'm making it known that I'm asking for every single video from this camera from here forth, and I expect to receive those in a timely manner.
Okay, I don't think you
Yes,
can
sir.
ask for an
You
open
can't
records request
for
in
future.
advance.
Okay, according to open record or request for items that you might request from the city, I can't create a record that I haven't created. You have to ask what is available. So if you ask
I
what is
have the
available-
number of the open records request.
Okay, if you have some, yes, we'll go through that and you'll get it within a given specified time.
Yes, Ms. Bells?
Good evening, council. Mrs. Parrish, Debbie Bells, 2900 County Road 805B. Rob, one question for you on your, whatever you're doing. Does it state in there board members as well? Because I feel like it should include the board members as well for their ethics.
I didn't put that in there. I just addressed it toward the city council. Maybe the board could adopt their own for them. They're certainly
Okay.
welcome to use this draft.
Okay. That's what I needed to know. I didn't know how that worked, if it went to the boards themselves, because I feel like there should be some kind of ethic there as well.
Good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 8. There is no executive session.
I believe Jen Baggett wanted to speak.
Ms. Jaggett has already spoken, so we don't need to necessarily have repeat people speaking on the same issue. We've already been dealing with it for almost an hour now.
I'd like to hear her speak. Anybody else on the council?
I'd like to hear her speak.
Thank you, council. Jen Baggett, 200 Pine. Quick question, since filming in public is legal, right? If you're out in a public place, Steven's out, Bells could film him if he wants. So, sir, since you're okay with that, would it be okay if one of us, any of us, if we see your wife and children out in public, is it okay for you if we film you and give him to Danny Roberts and let him do his thing?
If they are in public place.
So, and if he splices it and lets people do nefarious commenting on it, that's okay with you as well? If they make fun of her, they call her tweaker, meth user, you're gonna be okay with your wife? Because me and Steven said, let's look at Susan. Is that okay with you, sir? Or can we make nice with one another and put the creepy camera away? There's no reason for it. You used to film and you had your stepson helping you and it was great back in the day. But every time you film, you would cut it off when executive started or the gavel went down when mayor said so. Meeting adjourned, filming was done. This does not occur with this camera. And you couldn't convince me that the reason you keep it running is for anything good. If you are trying to convince me of that, somebody is lying. So think about that, sir, because again, if your family's out in public, Nefarious Joe gets a hold of, posts it on Nefarious Jane's site, and does what they've done to me, to Mr. Bells, to a lot of other people, that's okay with you? Or how about we just cut the crap and just say, hey, let her go. There's no valid reason for that bad boy to be right there. Think about that, because it goes both ways.
Mayor, I'd like to ask a question. Why won't you sign this? what verbiage in here is offensive to you, or do you find that you can't agree with?
Who are you talking to?
Mayor?
You talking to me? I just don't like some of the verbiage in there. I feel like it's too, I don't know, I can't explain it right now, but you're saying, I will not do this, I will not do that, and it's too affirmative to where you can create a code of conduct for council, and you can encourage good behavior, and you can encourage council members to think about when they post and what words it might portray to the public and what intent you might be trying to do, but you can't make it to where they have to do it. And that's where I feel like this kind of breaks that barrier, where it's now asking, it's saying you can't do something, and there's no penalty if you violate it. So if I sign this and I say I will not post something that misrepresents, then you decide, hey, she just posted something, I think she just misrepresented something, well then what are you gonna do to me? I mean, then what's the consequence? There is no consequence. So I'm not open to signing things that have no penalty or consequence. There's no purpose in it, other than then you to use it to bully me for it, and say, hey, she violated this own agreement that she signed, that you forced me to sign. I'm saying
So
that we
are you-
can create a code of conduct, and I encourage that. I think that we can come back in January and do that. And we can write a code of conduct that we can all, I think, agree upon, but I think we have to do it as a collective effort, because that's the whole process of council, is doing it together as 7 elected officials, not one member writing a form and demanding that we all sign something.
Nobody's demanding. It says I voluntarily signed this. And so just to take your logic to the next step, so you're fully intending then, as I'm listening to what you said, to post on social media something that misrepresents, or you're comfortable putting something that distorts or otherwise falsifies the facts, blah, blah, blah. You're perfectly comfortable with that because you don't want to commit to being honest, straightforward, transparent, and truthful with the public in Keene. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not what I'm saying.
Did anyone else hear something different?
I'm just saying that this code of conduct that you wrote is open to interpretation by this council. And again, this council is not a judge and jury to decide that one member of the council violated it if you signed it tonight. And so I feel like it holds no weight in that regard. And if you want one that holds weight, we need to come back in January and create a collective code of conduct that we can all be happy about and agree upon.
So
And
the
put
code of-
verbiage in there, just like what Councilman Goot was said about whispering campaigns. I didn't know what that meant either. So you have some ambiguous language in here that I don't know how to interpret it. Therefore, it's open to interpretation.
Well, I've got a dictionary right here on my phone. Is there any word you want me to look up right quick?
Well, that's what Mr. Bells did. He looked up whispering campaign, if that's what
Okay.
you're talking about.
I
But again,
understand that. Do you understand libel, prejudice based on race, sex, religion? What in here? Because here's the thing. If we do a code of conduct we can all agree on and we want to put teeth in it, then my recommendation is if you violate that code, you're dismissed. End of story.
yeah, that's not the case.
Is that what you want?
But I
then-
mean, you can't do that. You can't, that's why I said you can't use a code of conduct that is
Exactly.
approved
So
and
the code of
dismiss a member of
conduct,
an elected
regardless
official.
if it's all mamby-pamby, it's okay to occasionally put a misrepresentation on Facebook. It's all right if we just occasionally distort. What is it going to be? There's a line of it's black and white. It's true or false. It's on or it's off. And we should be walking that line very carefully with only what's true, only what's right, and only what's honest and uplifting our fellow council members, rather than this insinuation that could be taken both ways. That's the point of this. 4 of us agree that this should be done. The 2 on here who don't agree are the ones who are fostering this very attitude on Facebook. Did I miscount?
5 agree.
5 agree. Oh, excuse me. I miscount. 5 of us agree, but the 2 of you who are on Facebook the most, fostering this type of division among the citizens of Keene, refuse to sign. So I hope when the voters vote this fall that they realize that the major problem might be coming from the chairs to my right. That's the teeth that's in this code of conduct right here. If you're not willing to sign something that says, I'll be honest, true, and transparent with the citizens, then why sit up here?
That's actually not what you put in there. If you actually wrote that, that might be something I would sign then, if you said that, but that's not what these words are.
All right.
They're not saying I will be honest, transparent, and that. These are saying things I will not do. And again,
Does
we can
anyone?
come back in January,
Well,
like I
we're
said.
still here.
and-
We're
and
still here.
look at
So
this.
I'll tell you what, I'll redraft this to where I'll only post or say things that are honest, true, transparent, and in the best interest of the citizens of Keene.
That's
Now will you
getting-
sign it?
That's getting closer to a code of conduct that I could agree upon, yes. Work on that.
All right.
All right? Sound good?
Go ahead, Ray.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 8, executive
Hang on,
session.
Mr.
No, I'm ending this, I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm sorry, Steve.
We're moving
Steve.
on. Mr. Slayton.
I got one
Steve.
question. Who's behind Michael Arnold?
Mr. Slayton, I don't know who that is.
think I'm looking at you right
I am
now.
not Michael Arnold. I know you have slandered me and said that that's me, and that is another person that is not me. Let's move on, council, to executive session number 8. Yes,
He wants to speak.
you have a question, Mr. Johnson?
Mike,
I can't hear you.
It was off, I'm sorry. I don't care about that, but our citizens really care about that. Council care about that. I mean, we asked you last time, to take it out. I don't know why you just don't leave it alone personally. I mean, I know it's your camera and stuff, but all the council people, all the people outside this city complain about cameras being here when we spend all this money on the other ones. When you used to do it, your son. That's the only thing I could really say. I mean, that's yours, and I mean, we can't make you take it out, but it would save a lot of problems in here with people complaining and stuff like that a minute, you know what I mean? What I mean, they come up here and they complain about that, and they don't like it. So, I mean, if it was me, I think instead of wasting our time up here over a camera, I think I'd leave it alone. I would, but I'm not you. So, that's all I can say.
Do you want to speak, Stephanie? State your name and where you live.
Stephanie Andrew, 109 Christine Street. Good job, Rob. I think that was awesome, what you did. And I think that if we were all cohesive and wanted to work together, we would all voluntarily sign it, because that's what we would want to do in our hearts. But I don't see that in your heart or your heart. And I may have missed it, but what is the purpose of that camera pointing out here, especially when you are not in here operating it? Can I have an answer right now, please?
When I'm not
Why
operating,
is the camera running out here when y'all are in executive session? What is the purpose of that?
okay, I have no control. Sometimes I can't be able to.
I believe it's been running every time I've come here and y'all have gone in executive session. Why do you insist on keeping your camera on the public, the citizens, while you are back there? What is the purpose of that?
The purpose is for the citizens that I represent.
The what?
The purpose is for the citizens that I represent.
For the citizens that you represent.
Yes.
Okay, those citizens that you represent, what are they hoping to gain from that video? What good is that going to give your citizens that you represent?
How their government operates.
Huh?
How their government operates.
We are not in control. We're not operating anything out here. We are the citizens of this town out here.
I am too.
But you're not recording yourself on your camera. You're recording us.
Um,
That is not your camera.
Okay.
That is the
All right.
city's camera. I don't like you recording me. I wish you would turn it off. I mean, if you're going to record me, then pay me. Pay me like I'm a rock star or something. I think it's very unethical for you to record your citizens that have voted for you. I would like to see a list of your citizens that you're representing that are requesting you to record all the other citizens that don't want to be recorded. I would find that interesting. I really don't understand why Rob's verbiage is so, I mean, why do you need teeth in it? I don't understand that. I mean, it's just trying to get us to all work together and be one, because we're not one, Lisa. We're not. Do you really want to work with your council? Because you don't show it. You haven't shown it. Your words, your posts are creating division in this town. It really is heartbreaking.
Thank you for your comments.
Mayor,
Oh, thank you.
in order that we don't have another open meeting violation, it's probably a good idea to let Steve speak.
He did speak.
You cut him off.
Do you have anything else you want to say, Mr. Slayton?
I got a question. Who's behind Michael Arnold?
I'm sorry, what?
Who's behind Michael Arnold?
I am not Michael Arnold. I am not Michael Arnold. You guys have been accusing me of having fake Facebook accounts under various names. I am not Michael Arnold. So I have no control over somebody named Michael Arnold posting anything to anyone. I don't control that account or that person.
Well, no, Michael Arnold posted to him on your page, calling him Down syndrome. Is that acceptable for you to leave up? KRT shut it down. Why did your page allow it? And the two that broke out of Dollar General, you allowed Michael Arnold to insinuate slander that it was me and Steven. Why is that
Please.
acceptable if you guys claim you don't know him?
Okay, please, for correction, it's not my page. I've
Sir,
told you,
that's your wife. Aren't you married?
I used to be an admin on that page. I no longer
So you're okay
manage
with your wife
what
allowing
goes on
it?
in there. What?
You said you're okay with your wife allowing slander, smear, bullying, and attacking and division in your city?
I can't answer that.
All you have to do is say, Ms. Gutwa, it's not nice to make fun of Down syndrome people. It's not nice for your group expert to call him disabled because he's hard of hearing, especially when she thinks she is too. He has to wear hearing aids. It's not a disability.
You can reach out to the admins. And
I
they will
already
help.
did, and they have us blocked. And then the rest before that, they ignored us. I want to still know why Ms. Parrish is it's okay and it's illegal for you to block most of Keene. It's illegal. If you want to be so open and blah, blah, blah about, answer why so many of us are blocked.
I'm not here to answer questions right now.
It's
on any of
illegal.
that.
Just remember that.
You know why you block? 'Cause you can't handle the truth.
Okay.
I don't think the agenda item was discussing social media, was it not?
Yes.
Yeah, so what's your question?
So I'd like an answer to the previous question of why do you block so many citizens?
I don't know why I don't have people blocked as many as what they're saying. There are people I've blocked that are strangers that, create spam, create, things like that. But I'm not out to block citizens that want to make comments on my mayor's page, or my personal page is my personal page. So if I have somebody blocked there, I can do that for personal reasons. Yeah. As far as I know, everybody can see my page. She's been able to see it, so. Anything else, council? 7:53 PM. Moving on to agenda item number 8, executive session. We do not have any executive session tonight. So moving on to agenda number 10, request for future items on the agenda. So we're going to add a workshop, I believe, for the EMS in sometime in January, early January.
And I have a request when you're ready.
Do we have anything else that we would like to add to the agenda?
I do.
Okay.
I'd like to ask us to place on the agenda, once again, to have the attorney present during our meetings, and that would be on the second and fourth Thursdays of each month.
Or if he can't come on Thursday, could we make it another day?
He said he couldn't come on the second. I think he can only come on the fourth Thursday, is what the attorney can come. He can't do the first, second, or third.
He said he can make some of the second, and I
May
believe
not,
that would be
okay.
sufficient. I'll let
That
Mr.
was what he told me. Also, could I get some clarification, please? Did you want to bring forward on the next agenda a draft code of procedure?
That's what Brent's talking about now. Right. You're
Code of-
talking about the code of conduct, or whatever the attorney called that?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Code of procedure, I guess is what he was calling it, what the attorney called
I think
it.
that's what he was calling it, if I,
Code of procedure, okay. Anything else, council?
What about, did we ever finish the discussion on short-term rentals?
Discussion on what?
Short-term rentals.
I don't know where we left off on that.
We should get an update on that, or have a draft of some kind of a resolution regarding that.
Anything else? We have a motion
Is-
to
is-
adjourn?
Hang on, is Public Works going to be on the next agenda? Report from Public Works?
oh, yes, we can do that.
Okay.
I'd like to know about Well 7, my good friend.
What's wrong with that?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn by Bells and a second by Foster. Any further discussions? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried at 7:56 PM. Meeting is adjourned.